Good morning, day 66 of the 75-day challenge. A lot of stuff going through my mind today. Last night was just one of those nights where I had some really pain in my side, wrenchers, and actually I had to cancel a few trips. And it amazes me how people could be so crazy and just so off during a time like this and just being a total pain. Like this guy booked my car. He wanted to come pick it up at 1 a.m. That was not going to happen. Just everything seemed really off about him, and it just started to rain. Oh boy, it was sunny outside when I left the house. So basically things seemed really off. He wanted to pick up the car at 1 a.m. I said he couldn't do that, and he was arguing with me about why I couldn't make it available for him. So I ended up canceling the trip. And then the guy proceeded to call me so many times last night, and this is around 11:30 p.m. Oh God. I actually ended up having to block his phone number because he just kept calling me. And you already know, if someone feels comfortable enough to call a complete stranger past 11 p.m. at night over and over and over again, after I'm already declining his calls and not responding to any more of his messages on Turo, that's a big red flag. What makes you think if I answer the phone that all of a sudden I'm gonna say, oh yes, you can rent my car? I mean, there's just no way. So you definitely have to follow your gut instincts when you come across a renter who seems kind of shifty like this guy did. Even though he had a previous trip on his Turo profile, but I just found him to be really off, and so I'm happy with that decision, but kind of went to sleep with that little bit of a stressful situation. And that's usually not a great way to end the night, but just continue to think about every single day, anticipating what the next couple months are going to look like, and just really thinking of all my options. I'm thinking about, there's probably going to be a lot of people that are looking to get out of their cars that are on Turo, and there's an opportunity there for me to pick up some of those cars. But then you almost feel kind of guilty about that you're finding opportunity in maybe situations where people are losing their opportunity. And if things don't shape up, maybe I want to get out of my cars and exit out of Turo. So just really kind of thinking about all my options and where I want to go from here. So I don't know, that's just kind of my morning rant. Also really thinking about, once I get back to the house, exactly what I want to work on, my impact activities for the day. But yeah, that's just kind of what I'm looking at, and it's starting to rain. So I will talk to you guys later. Stay safe, stay healthy, take care of yourselves. Hope everybody is doing well, and happy Friday. Day 66 of the 75-day challenge, and it is almost my bedtime. So let me get through this chapter. This is chapter 4, lesson 53, and it's called Affluence. Watching something grow is good for morale. It helps us believe in life. By Marion Kaufman. The rich may get richer, pondered the wealthy gardener, but only because they once managed income and expenses to gain an advantage. Wealth arises from passing sacrifices that yielded rewards. Affluence is a state of having a great deal of money. In my 30s, I was in the middle of the struggle for wealth, but still a million miles away from the finish line. One evening, I was at a niece's birthday party with 30 family members and friends. The kids were playing, the women were talking, and the dads were drinking heavily. See, I can't read because I'm so tired. At the end of the night, an attorney friend of mine walked over and put his arm around me. "You're the smartest one of us," he said. "I'm watching what you're doing. You work your ass off, and you live below your means. The rest of us spend our money. You're going to end up richer than all of us." He surely wouldn't recall his words the next day, but I never forgot the impression he left on me. He saw that I was quietly gathering capital and increasing my financial advantages. I was earning it and protecting it. I was saving money and investing it. Behind the scenes, I was quietly amassing a financial snowball for the future. My growing affluence required sacrifices of time. It demanded risk, but only when the odds were good and when the rewards were aligned with my goals. And it required me to swallow my ego. Vanity is a luxury for the broke. Thrift is not an affair of the pocket, said S.W. Strauss, but an affair of character. Men who make money rarely saunter. Men who save money rarely swagger, said Edward Bulwer Lytton. But is the sacrifice worth it? As one who has been on both sides of the fence and has struggled in the middle class, I can give testimony to the power of capital and the advantages available to those who will sacrifice and delay gratification to amass it. Many years later, in my 40s, I was finally approaching my goal of financial freedom. One day, I met with the president of a large bank and its chief commercial lending officer. I was anxious, but also prepared for the meeting. I had created a folder to leave with them along with a detailed proposal for a critical loan. It included a net worth statement that showed I was worth $2.4 million. For years, I had saved, and throughout that time, I had maintained relations with this bank. I bought my son Mike, a finance major then, to witness transaction. We were greeted at the front door by my loan officer, Linda. She welcomed us easily and then escorted us through an impromptu tour of the main bank offices. At each door, she introduced us to the employees. The staff members stood to shake our hands. They were respectful, acting as if we were royalty. For 10 minutes, I felt like I was experiencing someone else's life. And even the top brass of the bank continued the red carpet treatment. Not only did I get the loan, I experienced a moment that fathers dream about. I had brought my son to show him a skirmish for money, but he saw the fruit of hard labor, the reward of sacrifice, and the esteem that it showered upon those who proved themselves worthy to be safe stewards of capital. A bank is a place that will lend you money if you can prove that they don't need it, joked Bob Hope. Banks lend to those with proven track records. This is because financial records reflect patterns of behavior and choices. I always drove used cars, but I paid cash for 2 college educations. I lived in a moderate house in a rural town, but I purchased 70 rental units with positive cash flow. I operated a business for years in the basement of a veterinarian clinic, but I later owned the best professional building in town. I worked weekends and evenings instead of relaxing, drinking, or golfing, but I enjoyed the quiet exhilaration of amassing money for financial freedom. I gave my time and energy to build a fortress of capital, and when I had a rough years, the fortress was resilient enough to withstand my crisis. Affluence alone provides these real powers, and nothing can take its place. When we are broke, we must give our life to create a money snowball that grows on its own. But in time, the money becomes a genie that has no equal for granting wishes. Add each day something to fortify you against poverty and death, advised Seneca. Try to save something while your salary is small. It's impossible to save after you begin to earn more, said Jack Benny. The start of my savings was $1 a day, and the journey required 2 decades of steady progress, delayed gratification, and a swallowed ego. It was often dull and mundane. It was a slow plodding. It was all passion. But when I look back, I see temporary sacrifices to gain slight advantages. And as I worked, these tiny advantages became greater in power. In the end, I gained the upper hand, not over others, but over my life's financial conditions. Money is a terrible master, said P.T. Barnum, but an excellent servant. My drunken lawyer buddy was right. I was unlike others in my small community. I had taken Dave Ramsey's advice to live like no one else so I could later live like no one else. And during the climb, I knew no friends more loyal to me than my growing affluence. If your outgo exceeds your income, said Bill Earle, then your upkeep will be your downfall. But conversely, George S. Clason reminds us that wealth is power. With wealth, many things are possible. Wealth expands options. The life lesson, affluence. I save my dollars to gain a financial advantage and then manage my advantages to amass my wealth. Whew, that was a good chapter. So that is chapter 4, lesson 53 on influence in The Wealthy Gardener by John Safaric. And on that note, I am actually going to call it a night and get myself to bed. But an awesome chapter. And again, this video is a part of a series on my playlist called the 75-Day Challenge. And it actually goes through this entire book piece by piece. And they're absolutely amazing lessons for anyone in any position at any stage in life. And I cannot recommend it enough, especially during a time like this. It's just, I feel it's absolutely critical to read something like this because it gives you the mental clarity and the mindset that you need to prevail through any type of situations or circumstances. So please, 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 I urge you to take up some literature such as this book, The Wealthy Gardener, or things that are similar in nature to really help you get yourself some perspective during crises like the one that we're in. So check out my description below. There's a link to where you can get this book, as well as a link to the 75-Day Challenge and exactly what it is. So that is day 66. Thank you so much for watching, you guys. Take care of yourselves. Stay healthy. Stay safe. Bye.